Hi, this is Tim Malcolm, the Assistant Custom Publishing Editor of the Times-Herald-Record. When Levon Helm passed away, we spoke with Steve Israel, a reporter with the Times-Herald-Record who's covered Levon for almost 20 years. We asked him to speak about his thoughts about Levon, what he was like when covering him, his music, his influence on the region and in Woodstock, and just about how great a person Levon was to him. Here are his thoughts.
Levon's impact was as big as anybody's in the region, I really think. Not only as a musician did he attract, some of the greatest musicians of our time to that little barn, home/studio down a funky dirt road, just outside of town. To who played the Midnight Ramble, and we're talking about Elvis Costello, we're talking about Bob Weir, Phil Lesh, John Sebastian, who was a neighbor, Natalie Merchant, Donald Fagen played would just hang out there. My Morning Jacket, the guys from Mumford and Sons. I mean, not only would all those folks play there, and not only would people come there from literally around the world. I mean, there are people who would fly in from Japan just to see him because he was a legend. But his presence as a person and as a good guy, and using his fame, his personality, his generosity, I think, to help the local folks. He would teach drums to kids. This guy's a legend. He's a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. And he was as humble and as nice and as generous with his time as anybody could be. I don't know whether it was in his genes, whether his daddy, Diamond, and his mom, whose name escapes me right now, taught him the right way. Let a business thought run through your head, son, and his father told him that in Turkey Scratch. But he was just, there are good, I always say this, there are good people in this world, and Levon Helm was one of those good people. He embodied, I think, all the values that you want somebody to embody. I think we wrote it somewhere. He was as honest as his music, and that's who Levon was. He was just as I say, gracious comes to mind. I remember we sat down first time in his kitchen, which is, his house is right, a wall, separated by a wall from the studio. And he just talked to you like he's known me forever. And and we're talking, and all of a sudden he says, "Steve, I'll get you one of my special Cokes." He used to keep a stash of these Coca-Colas, that is. He used to keep a stash of bottles of Coke made with, as he said, real cane sugar. But I think anybody he met, he would generally remember you. And when you'd leave, he'd help you on with your coat. Who does that? I was, one of the things that I was, unfortunately, this is a terrible thing to have to write and talk about Levon in the past tense, because he was so full of life. But when I was looking through my notes, I found the notebook from his 70th. We went there to do his 70th birthday story package. That's on Record Online, and got a few minutes with him and stuff after the ramble. I found this. They were always changing his phone number, so that he gave it out to half the world, and so half the world didn't call him. And as I was leaving, he said, "Steve, here's my new phone number." And I saved it, because that's about the closest thing I think I have to a. He gave me this phone number, and that's about the closest thing I have, I think, to an autograph of Levon Helm's, but I saved it. And you know what? I respected the guy so much, I never would call him out of the blue or anything like that. I was lucky enough to sit there in his rambles in that studio next to him. You know, they're pretty small, so you're always sort of sitting next to him. And he would play those drums, man, and it would just be like it would go whack, and it would go right through you. I don't know how he did it. I would ask Larry Campbell. They had a hard time explaining how he played a beat that was like so right on, so in the pocket, so galvanizing, that it was unlike any sound in music. I asked Chris Christopherson when we talked to him for a story we never did, to describe him. He described that voice, which is just one of a kind, earthen, he'd describe it. He called him, he's my favorite rock singer, Chris Christopherson said, one of the best singers ever. He's right up there with Ray Charles. He's as good as it gets. The most soulful white guy I've ever met. I thought that was just perfect. John Simon, who lives in Ulster County and who produced those first great music from Big Pink and The Band, those first 2 albums, said this about him. He is a musician through and through. He was born that way. That's the way he came out of the crate. Others may label their whole lives through and never attain the natural level of musicianship that Levon has. It's his essence. He may be 87% flesh and bones and 13% blood and spit, but he's 100% musician. And I thought, man, you know, that's it. Larry Campbell, who was basically his band leader for the Rambles, and who's played with everybody from Dylan to Elvis Costello to B.B. King, always said that Levon was by far his favorite, was the epitome of his career. Here's how Larry described it. The one guy who can do any form of honest American music with authority. He can do Southern gospel like he grew up in a church, blues like he was born on the Delta, rock and roll like he was there at the beginning. He's the Delta of American music. This is like the stuff of Americana. So you add all that up, I think, the texture of the lyrics and the subject matter of his songs, and the music, which is written as rich as that dirt in the cotton fields of Turkey Scratch that he picked that cotton as a kid. You add it all up, and you know, you get an American original.